Pro Tools thing where you just the song's playing, then you have the song's already there.
Yeah,
And
it's
how much?
all automation.
And how do you get the time? How do you just get the certain amount of time you get to talking, and then a song just
Well,
plays?
we're gonna talk as long as you
Okay,
want.
cool. So you're in control of it.
I mean, we're all in control.
Right. Well, a lot of radio stations they're just on a grid, right?
Yeah, but not us. We're making how we want to do this afternoon.
Okay,
You're
cool.
live on Facebook, darling.
Hey, what's up? Hey, what? There's some really good water in this town.
Chaos live here in the Fresh Studios. So excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for playing the Broom Factory tonight. We love having you in Kingston.
So you're saying the sound is amazing, and
oh my gosh! Like when I first went into this Broom Factory for the first time, it was unbelievable to me to hear just how well the sound works around the room. You know, sometimes you get into a club and the sound's kind of like pulsating at you. When you get into the Broom Factory, it's like encompassing you.
They did it right.
You know, it just makes you feel like no matter what point of the room you're in, you're going to hear everything clear.
Someone just texted me, you have a sound check in 15 minutes, so I can't wait to check it out. No, we're good. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. By the way, Young and the Restless is playing in the background. You can't see it.
And you are an excellent co-host, by the way. I'm usually here by myself, so it's nice to have you here with me. All right. So we're inviting folks to ask you any question they may have.
Ask me anything.
And they can text us at 613-507-1043. And what are some of the most common questions you get?
Fresh 104.3. Everyone's always like, yo, what does crab bucket mean? What do you mean by that? And I'm from the school of you're not always supposed to tell people what the song means. You don't want to ruin it.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like it's been out long enough that I usually answer it. Weird questions. Are you Will.i.am? Are you Outcast? Are you Outcast? Are you the Fugees?
Come on now.
I'm joking.
Okay, good.
I'm playing. Taking a piss.
All right, here we go. And it's brand new music from Dua Lipa, Training Season on 104.3 Fresh Radio. I'm Karen, and I'm not alone. This is great.
You're never alone. You're never alone. I'm here with you. I should just get a job here, and we should just do this.
Would you kindly just come and co-host the afternoons with me?
I would love it. It'd be a good voice exercise because your voice is so amazing. I'll have to keep up.
And you know what? Do you freestyle? Do you ever do that?
I mean, once in a while,
I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I didn't ask.
It's all about the beat. If the beat hits, I'll freestyle, but I can't just freestyle just because.
All right. I'm sorry. I was a little, it kind of just came to me, just jumped in.
Don't apologize.
Tonight, Chaos performing at the Broom Factory. This is going to be such a lit show. We were just talking about the Broom Factory here on Facebook Live, and you've not been to the venue before, but you've been to Kingston before.
I've been to Kingston many times. I've done like some street festivals here. One of my ex-girlfriends went to Queens. I used to come here and visit all the time. I love this city, and I think that people here are just one of the first shows I ever did here was with Bedroom Sound Clash and the Stills, and we played Queens University, and I was like, the crowd was like, it was outside, the crowd was crazy. I'm like, I always would ask my agent, send me back to Kingston because the crowds here were insane.
Well, we are so stoked to have you back. And it's such a great time for you to be here as well. The Junos were just last weekend. We were talking about the beaches earlier in the hour. Talk to me about somebody who understands the Canadian music scene and what you're watching.
You know what? It's like, Maestro did he got in the Hall of Fame. It's just so crazy because I watched him I just talked to him actually on I just DM'd him because he had this whole section. He was inducted into Canadian Music Hall of Fame, and he did this like section with like break dancers, and like me, the Rascals, like so many bands ripped him off. And I said, you know what? If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have even had careers. I went to watch him play in Oshawa in like 19. I don't want to date myself, but actually I would date myself because I'm pretty hot. But like he just, and the b-boying was immaculate, and I was so proud of him. I was so mad that I couldn't be there because I was working, but it's just good to see the progression from like Maestro to Drake. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like a long list of people who just paved the way for other people. And the same thing works with like rock and roll. It's like you have Emily Haynes from Metric who did the Beach's first record, and there they are now, like with getting Juno Awards, having a huge hit that's huge in America and all over the world. But if it wasn't for Metric, there would be no the Beaches. So it's like what's happening now is this changing of the guard where all of us came. We did what we did, and now this younger generation is taking it a step further. It's just amazing to watch, and like we're a really lucky country because we're young. We're not like America. We don't have like hundreds of years of history. This is really the first generation of musicians that are going to set the tone for what happens next. So I don't even know what Gen Z and the next gen is going to be on. They got a good foundation.
They sure do. And you said you didn't want to age yourself, but we're going to do this because Crab Bucket turning 20.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's 20th anniversary of that record. Man, I used to be Crab Bucket, all those songs. And I'm probably going to tour it. We'll see what happens. It's just really strange when the numbers go up and they say 20 years and you're like, there are kids that are 20 years old now that like my friends have kids that are 20 years old, and I just have a record that's 20 years old. So it's like, these are my children.
Well, I got to pass this along because my son is 21. And when he found out that you were going to be in the studio, he was like, Chaos, like Sunday morning Chaos. Like, so, you are appealing to the generation that's coming next, which I think, that's a real tip in your hat. People are still resonating with your music, whether it be when it first came out or they're just finding out about it now.
Don't make me cry. No, I'm just, you know what? I feel blessed and grateful. And my goal was always to write good songs. And hopefully they lasted more than just a week or two. So when people, whether it's Crab Bucket and it's super campy and jazzy and funky, or it's Man, I Used to Be in a little more serious content, or it's Sunday Morning, which is hopefully a party banger. I just tried to like write enough songs that last. I think that's what I would pass on to anybody who's a songwriter out there. It's cool to write what's out there right now, but like listen to the Beatles, go listen to Zeppelin, go listen to Fleetwood Mac, listen to Tribe Called Quest, and like see what made those songs great and emulate those people, because you'll never be like them. You'll be a version of them that will last forever.
Oh, I love that so much. We're going to talk about Invulnerable. That's the new record. Chaos performing tonight at the Broom Factory. We'll chat more with Chaos coming up after CSG.
Fresh Radio 104.3 with Care. I tried to go.
Oh, you're so fun. You're so fun. Let's see if we've got.
How'd you get this job? If you don't mind me asking.
How did I get this job? You know what? It was one of those really good right place, right time moments. I actually had fallen off of a kitchen chair and my ankle was all in pieces and I was laid up and I couldn't go and do my manual labor job. And I was like, oh, look at that. The radio station's hiring. And I'd worked in radio before, so I took a chance.
You had the voice, yeah.
And unfortunately got the gig, and it's been great ever since.
So how long you been here now for?
2 years.
Nice.
2 years here in Fresh.
Nice.
All right. So we have from Jacinthe. She says, I just want to say, love your music, Chaos. Keep it going.
Thank you.
Which is so sweet. And it looks like Nicole says she's going to definitely be there tonight at the show.
Nicole, let's go. I'll shout you out.
And this is really sweet. This is from Kat. She says, can I open for you?
Oh my. Well, send Kara some music. We'll see. Maybe we'll get you on stage tonight. Anything can happen. This is the world we live in right now.
So I really wanted to ask this question as well, because you had mentioned, dropping a DM, to Wes and, congratulating him, but it's that word DM,
right?
We are at this very interesting time with social media, because when your music was first starting to come out, Facebook wasn't even a thing yet.
No,
people don't realize how young Facebook actually is.
No, it wasn't. You had no access to people that you listen to, and I think it's actually amazing that we live in a time where you can basically message someone that you respect or that you love or that you're a fan of. I do it all the time with like actors and obscure people that I love. I'm like, hey, I love this movie. I know they're going to see it. It doesn't matter whether they reply or not, but it's more about just like putting that energy in the world, because people do that to me and I really appreciate it. It's not like they're saying it like they want to reply, but they say something really sweet and you remember it.
Right.
So I do the same. And I think that didn't exist even 10, 15 years ago. And although that can be taken down different roads and could be toxic and could be this, I try to like accentuate the positive and said it's great that now that fame kind of encompasses this idea that anyone can reach out to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're no longer God where it's like, you can't see me. I'm hiding away. You kind of have to answer people. You kind of have to answer people's prayers. You kind of have to talk to people. And I think in the next, when humans figure out this, how social media is really going to interplay as a section of our society as opposed to the number one thing, we're going to find a good place for it. And I think it's going to be a healthy thing that changes the social dynamic of what it means to be famous or what it means to have popularity. I think it'll be a healthier thing for us.
So along that line, Billie Eilish recently went viral at one of these Academy Award parties or whatever it may be. But she was noticed to be saying there's a lot of TikTokers here tonight.
Right.
So
was she dissing it kind of?
It kind of seemed that way. So, there seems to be, a vibe check from each different kind of camp when it comes to TikTok. People that are, utilizing the platform to get their music out there, to get themselves heard, maybe not even going to a label anymore because they don't necessarily need one. What do you say, to people that are pushing their music out on these platforms instead of maybe going to what we would call the conventional way of releasing music?
Technology always changes art. Like, one day, if you and I work in a radio station, in that room was 7 singers going 104.3 fresh, and they were singing that. And one day someone bought in a recording of that and told those people you're fired because now we have that on record. We don't need you anymore. And those people's minds were probably blown. They were like, what is this? Now there's a record. So it's just like, there's no stopping it. It's people are going to keep getting replaced. And I think the best thing is just to write good songs. As far as TikTok, I'm not on it because I just feel like, really, because I love Milli Vanilli and they were lip syncers and like, and they got so much in trouble for lip syncing and now people just lip sync. And I'm just like, it's just hard for me because one of the dudes killed himself just because he felt so bad for lip syncing. And now it's what everyone does.
It's what everybody does.
So it kind of triggers me in a way where I'm like, oh, so it's okay to just lip sync now. So it's like, I have my issues with it, but that doesn't mean I haven't seen some great songs on TikTok. That doesn't mean when my friends, aka the Beaches or anyone's song blows up on TikTok, I'm not happy for them. It's just not my medium. I'm a little too old for it, I
think. And now you've got, kids that are coming up to you, and I call them kids, and you call them kids, but they're probably in their 20s.
No doubt.
And when they come to you and they're looking for that advice for what to do next in their careers, what is the first thing you say to a young artist getting ready to break into this very crazy industry?
Just be as honest as possible. Bleed. If it's embarrassing, it's probably good. Don't try to make cool music because cool music doesn't last. Make something that makes you feel really awkward and cringy and like scared, because that's probably means it's really good. If it's too cool and it fits in with what everyone, it's just going to be another thing that just fits in. You got to do something that makes you feel vulnerable. No pun intended. You have to do something that kind of breaks down the walls and you're a little embarrassed to hear it, but when you make it, you love it. But then you hear it a week later and you're like, this is embarrassing. I don't know if I should put this out. Then it's good.
Then it's good. Then it's ready. All right. We're going to come back on here on the air right after Charlotte Cardin.
She's great too. She's incredible. I remember when she put this demo up on Instagram, I was like,
Charlotte Cardin, Confetti, 104.3 Fresh Radio. I'm Care, and that is Chaos. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm so good. It's so good to have you back in Kingston. That's really exciting.
I'm back into this town I used to be.
I
don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means.
How do you even come back from that?
I'm just talking. I'm just capping. You know?
Well, we have a brand new single. It's called Invulnerable. I was listening to it before you got here to the station. And you know what I think, I love the most about your music is like this metamorphosis. Every record is a little more unique than the other in one way or another. You're always sampling. You're always trying. You're always changing things up. And that's what I love so much about you. And I found Invulnerable to almost be like a little lo-fi, right? Like it's a little gritty. And I was like, well, this is different. What are we doing here?
It leans country a little bit.
Yeah.
I kind of made it. My family has a farm up north in Brooklyn, Ontario. They've had it for the last 10 years. and I had this demo. It wasn't finished, so I finished it in a barn. And so the front part of the song is just a demo, but then I turned it into a real song. I think I appreciate the compliment that my music is kind of cross genre, but really I just have like musical ADHD. Like I can't stick to one thing. And so when I'm making a record, if I do two hip hop songs, after the second one, I'm like, I gotta switch it up. So to me, it's always just been like embracing that thing that people might think is weird or different. Like I was posting, Insta stories from my family's farm, and my friends like, yo, you guys are like out here being like black dudes at farms. Like this is the weirdest thing ever. Not weird, but just different. And I kind of leaned into that. I'm like, yeah, we do have a different lifestyle, but like why not embrace that? And then all of a sudden, Beyonce comes out with this country record. And everyone's like, so it's kind of like I think artists are kind of psychic in a way. You kind of know that you're on this path that might be different, but then if you just stick to it, all of a sudden there's all these other artists that are doing it's a lot of the time music changes and shifts. It's a lot of artists thinking the same way in different parts of the world and not knowing that they're thinking that way. And they all put out music at the same time, and instantly now black music is over in the country world. You know what I mean? And I think I'm trying to be part of that. That's something that I didn't really plan, but it's like that lo-fi thing you talk about is more of just like a guy and a guitar in a barn.
I love it.
So it's just, just do it again, do what you feel, and like don't really worry if it sounds different. Most likely someone who has great musical taste like you is going to be like, I love that. That's gritty, that's amazing, as opposed to being scared that it doesn't fit up to the quality of what the radio is, because the radio changes constantly.
And so you're constantly evolving, and that makes so much sense. You also skipped over the part where you didn't tell us what you thought of Texas Hold'em.
I loved it. You know what? I remember that one of the greatest when I first heard In New York by Jay-Z, one of the lyrics, he's like, BK's from Texas. And he was talking about Beyonce, BK, but BK also stands for Brooklyn. He's like, BK's from Texas. And I was like, yeah, Beyonce she's from Texas.
She sure is.
And so like when she came out and said that, I was like, oh, this is a known thing, even though that hasn't been part of her career for a long time. It's great that she's like embracing it. I think it's probably like ruffling some feathers, but a lot of people, it's also opening some doors for a lot of great artists. You're seeing it on Spotify and Apple, all these artists that are black artists that are country are all now getting attention because this powerhouse of an artist that's completely changed music all the time decides to like embrace her roots. It comes back to when you ask the question of like, what makes great music? Something like that, where she was probably so scared before she put it out. It's like, people want me to have a wind machine and my hair to be blowing in the wind, but now I'm going country. People are definitely going to like criticize this, but you can't care. You kind of have to just do it. And that's what actually shifts things,
Well, we did talk about how Crab Bucket celebrating 20 years, which is amazing. Congratulations to you. But I mean, a musician is a musician from the day they are born. You are born with music in your heart. So while that record being 20 years old at this point, you've been a musician your entire life. So where do we see chaos from?
What? I got a new record coming out this summer. It's 10 songs. It's all over the place. It's rock and roll. It's metal. It's reggae. It's pop. Bryan Adams is on my record, which he's my childhood idol. And someone connected us, and he's like, what do you think of this song? And I'm like looking at my inbox, and Bryan Adams is sending me a demo to sing on.
He was born here in Kingston. I
didn't know that. I thought his parents are English, right? But he's born here.
But he was born here.
So it's like he's on there. Drake's going to be on there. It's just, I'm very blessed. I feel really grateful and super excited. And that's why I'm going across the country and going to all these small towns and doing my thing, because I just want to rally everybody. So when this record drops this summer, people can say, I saw him at the Broom Factory and like on a Thursday night, and it was awesome. That to me is really where I saw most of my heroes. The Roots and the Fugees at Phoenix Theater. There's like 100 people there, and they just killed it for me, regardless of how many people were in the crowd. That's what it's about. And I think that's where music is going. I think it's great to play at amphitheater. It's great to like be Zach Bryan. It's great to be, Metallica. It's great to be Kings of Leon, but also to a lot of those bands tour like the Rolling Stones would do, like the Horseshoe when they came here. They get it. You got to feel that energy for you to remain who you are.
Well, we are so thankful to have you back in Kingston. You're going to put on such a killer show tonight at the Broom Factory. Chaos, you make an excellent co-host as well. So you have a standing invitation anytime.
Let's go.
To come back and hang out with me.
I took radio at York. I took communications at York, but just never, I flunked out because I went on tour. But like, this is my second passion. So, but my voice isn't as good as yours. You guys are lucky, Fresh Radio 104.3 to have Care Hair. Crazy voice, one of the best voices I've heard in radio.
Well, you rap better than I do.
Okay.
So I think we're even.
Now I don't know what to think.
Chaos here in the Fresh Studios this afternoon. He's headed over to the Broom Factory for a show tonight. Congratulations on all the success and such an incredible musical career. And you know what? I'm just going to add to this. Congratulations on inspiring a generation after a generation of music lovers who want to start bands to really, be a part of a bigger purpose. So thank you, Chaos, for everything that you've done for Canadian music. We love you.
Thank you so much.
This is Post Malone. It's Chemical on 104.3 Fresh Radio.
Is this new?
All right. I think you can say goodbye to our Facebook page.
Peace. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you for having me.